The NATO summit is coming up next week.
Yes, ma'am.
Is the president frustrated that this debate over the presidential election could cast a shadow over your goals for the NATO summit? Has he made any effort to reach out to the NATO leaders that will be coming to sort of assure them that this isn't going to derail that agenda?
So look, as you stated, next week the president's going to host the NATO summit here in Washington, D.C. It is also the 75th year anniversary of NATO. And let's not forget, NATO has become stronger and has gained 2 more countries because of this president's leadership, and all very much important in doing so is very much important in stopping and helping to stop Putin's aggression as Ukraine continues to fight, certainly for their freedom and democracy. Look, foreign leaders have seen the president close up. They have. And you know, and close up and personally for the past 3 years. And I think that's important to know. They know who they are dealing with and how effective he has been. I just talked about how NATO has expanded because of his leadership, how NATO is stronger because of his leadership. And I think that's important to note as well. And so, look, you're going to see the president, you know, being a leader in front of these world leaders. You're going to see the president continue to bring these world leaders together. And as it relates to what's happening currently, you heard directly from this president. He understands the criticism. He gets the criticism. He has owned up to it. But he also wants to move forward and continue to deliver on the really critical, important issues that the American people care about. When you think about NATO, you think about foreign policy, it is important to continue our world leadership on that, being leaders and strengthening our national security as well. And that is how the president thinks about this day in and day out.
I just want to follow up on the kind of questions about the outreach from the White House. Yeah. Does the president intend to make any other calls beyond the ones that he's made today to the congressional leadership? And then, you know, Representative Doggett said he reached out to the White House before he made his comments and did not hear back. He said he wanted to speak to President Biden personally about his concerns.
Yeah, look, I can't speak to the outreach that he made. I have not spoken to the Office of Legislative Affairs, so I can't speak to that. What I can say is the president certainly has looked forward to working with Democratic leaders and congressional members over the past 3 years. I keep talking about his record, certainly his record when it comes to legislation and getting things done. He couldn't have done it without Democrats like Doggett, and appreciates his obviously his support and his partnership. I can't speak to outreach. It's not something that I've spoken to the Office of Legislative Affairs about. And look, the president.
Sorry.
Sure. You want to take that?
Might be Doggett.
I know. He's like, you just brought me up in the briefing room. I have something to say. I would also note that. Look, I don't have any additional calls to read out or to lay out. One of the reasons that I mentioned it at the top, because I know some of you were trying to confirm and wanted to make sure that we got to you, got back to you, all of you, about that. And as you know, he's going to meet with Democratic governors, as I just stated at the top. So he's going to continue to do engagement. It is important. Some of these leaders, he could not have delivered on this record accomplishment that he's been able to get done without them. And so I'll just leave it there for now.
I think the question that we're all asking in different ways and is, has the president and has the White House, have you sort of missed the boat in terms of responding quickly enough? I mean, I spoke to someone today who said it was too little, too late.
Quickly enough on what specifically?
In explaining and discussing what happened at the debate and reassuring donors and other people that, you know, he intends to keep running.
Look, as it relates to donors or anything political like that, obviously that's something that the campaign should respond to. But I would remind you that the day after in North Carolina, the president spoke to his debate performance. He did. He talked about it. He gave, his thoughts. He also stated that, look, I'm not a young man. He said that. I'm not as a smooth talker as I used to be. I don't walk easily as I used to be, and I don't debate as well as I used to. He said this, and so he owned up to it on Friday, the day after the debate, that afternoon. And so we didn't wait. Now, as far as engagement, look, that is something certainly the campaign can speak to more. But the president, in front of hundreds of supporters in North Carolina, talked about his debate performance. So